What's up, you guys? We're in the cutting room and we're checking out the Golden Designworks Caliber today. This is an awesome knife. This is one of the newest knives that's came out that has really just caught my eye. It's really made me stoked to have. It's really impressed me. All the aspects of this knife have really impressed me. There's really nothing I have bad to say about this knife. There's one little thing that I think could be improved upon, and it's the tiniest little thing, and it might just be because my hands are big. I don't know. What's up, guys? I'm Garrett. You're tuned in to the Cutting Room Knife Review, where I review knives, blades, and all things sharp. Please like and subscribe so I can keep bringing you more killer knife content. But this is an amazing knife. It came out last year and is re-released this year. I got this knife on the re-release, so it was the second production run of this knife is when I got this thing, and I'm so glad I got my hands on it. I think there's still stock of it on their website right now. So if you see this and you go get it and there's still stock, be excited, because I bet this thing keeps selling out, because everybody should have one of these. This is a complete winner. There's so many great aspects of this knife. Golden Designworks really knocked it out of the park. And there's just so much to like about this, you guys. So Golden Designworks is a relatively new knife company. It was created by Blaze Golden. And Blaze Golden is a structural engineer in the aerospace industry. And something tells me that this guy who made this knife was a structural engineer in the aerospace industry. His knife screams futuristic. It has really cool modern lines. It has a lot of really neat design work to it that's just innovative. And it has a lot of just simple functionality to it. This is a great blend of futuristic, cutting edge, while being simple at the same time. I really, really like this knife. It's on the larger side, but for a knife this large, it fits in the hand well. It's really comfortable to use. And I think it's a really effective knife. So Blaze has a mission statement on his website, and he says it's to create innovative, high-quality, everyday carry products that seamlessly balance form and function. And I think he has totally done that with this knife. Form and function is a great way to describe this knife. He says, no excess, no overcomplication, just exceptional design, crafted for real-world use. I think Blaze has done a great job at Golden Designworks embodying the principles of simple, quality, and uncompromised. And it's really not that simple, you guys. Knives seem like they're simple, but they're not. And so much thought has gone into this knife. It's pretty mind-boggling. And for the price that they have it set at, I think you guys are going to think it's a complete winner. I think it's a complete winner. So there's been a lot of hype around this knife. It's been a big buzz on Reddit. Almost everyone that I see posting about this knife loves this knife. I don't really see anybody complaining about anything except for the one little complaint that I have about it. Everybody seems to say the same thing. And I'll just get into it. It's that this hole, the finger hole, is too small for your thumb. It's hard to get my thumb in this finger hole. But other than that, this knife is just knocked out of the park. And not everybody really uses their thumb to flip with a finger hole. I think most people use their finger to flip with a finger hole, and this knife does that just fine. So I found this knife when he released the sub caliber, basically the little brother of this knife. And I decided to go for this one because I could buy it that night. And I'm really glad I did. I might end up just buying the sub caliber, which is the exact same knife as this, just sized down a little bit, but just to see which one I really like. Let's get in on the breakdown of this knife, you guys. So this is an 8.625 overall length knife. This is over 8.5 inches. It's a big knife. All right. It has a 3.875 inch blade. So that puts this handle at over 4.5 inches. So it does seem like it'd be a really big knife, but it really doesn't feel that big. It really fits in my hand well. And the knife is long in the blade, but once again, it doesn't feel overwhelming. I really like how this knife works. And for a bigger knife, it feels small in the best ways. So this is a 4.1 to 4.2 ounce knife. The reason there's a difference is because there's two different millings to the titanium scales, and one milling is 0.1 ounce less than the other. So the thickness of the knife, you guys, is 0.65 inches with the clip right here. And it's only 0.48 without the clip. That's really narrow for a knife this big, especially one that runs on bearings and is this smooth. It is a very short knife as far as this is concerned, and it's really not a tall knife as far as it's concerned when it's closed. It fits really well in the pocket. We have a CPM MagnaCut blade with an HRC of 61 to 63. So that is just perfect right there. It has been heat treated well. It's MagnaCut. We all know we can't go wrong with MagnaCut. I kind of get tired of MagnaCut just because it's on everything, but the reason that it's on everything is because it works. It's really good. It's incredibly stainless. It takes a great edge. It's pretty easy to maintain. It has a beautiful grain. It looks great in stonewash. It looks great in satin. It's, as much as I say that I get bored with MagnaCut, it's really just because it works on everything. And just because it works on everything, everybody uses it. But that makes sense. I can't blame them for using MagnaCut. I think the only other option would be to use Vanax. And, you know, some people like MagnaCut, some people like Vanax, and they have their differences and their, you know, pluses and minuses. But I'm never going to blame somebody for using MagnaCut. I have a lot of knives in MagnaCut, and I like almost everything that comes in MagnaCut. It's never because the knife is in MagnaCut that I have a problem with a knife. And usually knives that come in MagnaCut are nice enough that I don't have a problem with the knife. So this has a bead blasted grind with machine satin flats. Okay? So machine satin flats and a bead blasted grind. If you feel it, it's just nice and smooth. It's like basically like the smoothest stonewash finish you've ever felt. Almost like a gloss to it. It comes laser beam sharp from the factory. It is just a great blade right out of the factory. Very slicey, very easy to cut with. It is a straight edge. So we have this reverse Tonto shape, or maybe you'd call it a sheep's foot. I tend to think that Wharncliffe has a belly to it, but maybe not. Maybe you could call it Wharncliffe. Maybe you'd call it, I don't know what you want to call it. What would you call this knife, guys? Would you call this a reverse Tonto? Would you call this, you know, I don't know, a sheep's foot, Wharncliffe? This edge on it makes me think that it's not a Wharncliffe right here. But having this flat edge right here definitely makes it, you know, I don't think it makes it a sheep's foot either. So I'm going to go with reverse Tonto, but you could also say it acts a lot like a Warney in the fact that it has this long, straight edge. It has a great little half choil on the blade that fits into what is actually covering up the flipper tab, but it winds up being a little great finger choil. You have nice jimping on the top of the blade. It's nice and thin. This is a really thin blade, you guys. It is really nice and thin. So this is a flat saber grind, you guys, and it comes in at 0.118 thickness of the spine. 0.118 thickness of the spine, you guys. The atom is 0.12. The Three Rivers atom, this Three Rivers atom is 0.12. This is 0.118. You're telling me that this thing is thinner than the atom? That's insane. That is bonkers. So this thing is going to be just a slice monster. If you know anything about this atom, you know it is a slicing machine. That's what it's known for. It's called a folding scalpel. That's the nickname for the atom. And this thing's coming in just a tiny bit thinner than it. That is absolutely crazy. It is 0.0175. That's 17.5 thousandths of an inch on the edge. So this thing is going to be so slicey. It's going to be able to get just laser beam sharp. This is a rad blade, you guys. So we're going to move on to the body of the knife. And they have milled titanium scales. And the milled titanium scales are also milled out on the inside to keep it light. So guys, they have two types of milling to their titanium. Okay, they have fluted and they have knurled, right? So the fluted has the lines, and the knurled looks a little bit more like crosshatch. I like the fluted. I think the lines work really well with the long length of this knife. It's going to come in two different colors. It comes in kind of like a smoky gray, and it comes in this sky blue. What Golden Designworks does that's really cool is they kind of give you two options for every piece of their knife. Some of their knives, you have two options of your blade finish. In this one, we had two options of the color of your scales, and you have two options of the milling of your scales. That's really cool. Sometimes you'll have two options of the hardware on them. Not on this knife. We had the milling and we had the color. So the milling and the color are what you get to choose from. And I think that each one looks great. I don't think Golden Designworks has put out a bad looking knife yet. But this is what I chose. Now, the next thing that's really cool about this knife, you guys, is the locking system. They have what's called a fusion lock. And the fusion lock is a frame lock, right? And you might have seen a frame lock before, but have you ever seen a button actuated frame lock? You might have seen a button actuated compression lock, like on the Spyderco Smock, Spyderco Sage, the new Vosteed knives. But this is a button actuated frame lock. Button actuated frame lock works by it has a little bar inside here. This button pushes down this bar, and if you see, it moves the frame. So lots of little fidgety features on this. You can rock it like this, or you can rock it with the button. And the button kind of lets you let the blade fly down loose, like you would on, say, a Manix or any other button knife that you have. But you usually don't get that kind of action when you have a frame lock knife, because you have to close from there and then you let the detent do the work. On this one, you can hold it open the whole way and the blade's going to stay loose. The blade itself has many different ways of deployment. The different ways of deployment are going to be a front flipper, a rear flipper, and then the finger holes. And the front flipper works great. The rear flipper works great, which is what I use the most. And then the finger holes work great for my pointer finger. My index finger works just fine with the finger hole. In fact, it's very comfortable. My thumb, on the other hand, does not work that well with the finger hole. I can't seem to get my thumb in there. I can every once in a while if I really try, but I don't know whether I just have a big old thumb. Could be the case. I do have bigger hands. But I've heard a lot of people complain about this. It is the only complaint that I've seen with this knife has been the hole is not big enough for the thumb. Well, if you look at the knife and how it fits, you're really not getting much more of a finger hole in there anyway. So I think we'll take what we can get, and you just aren't going to be able to actuate this knife with your thumb like you can, say, a Spyderco. But if you look at a Spyderco, we have a lot of blades sticking out so that I can actuate it with my thumb. And personally, that's not the way I actuate the knife a lot. It's not how I open my knife a lot. Most of the time with this knife, I'm just using the rear flipper. Sometimes it's fun to use the front flipper. You can slow roll the front flipper. Lots of fun stuff. I guess you could just hold the button down and flip it open. That's never my style. I don't think that's really treating your knife very nicely, but I do know some people that like you doing that, and it can be a fun way to flip your knife open and close. So let's check out the clip, you guys. We have this awesome little deep carry clip. All the hardware on this knife is titanium. Wonderful. It's beautiful. There's no hardware on this side visible except for the pivot and the button. We just have two screws on this side. We have the detent screw and one little screw down here. Everything is nice and hidden. We have a nice little back spacer back here with our little bit of jimping on it. And we have this awesome deep carry clip. It's nice and small. It's very effective in the pocket. This thing sits in your pocket wonderfully. This is a long knife, but it is a very narrow knife, a very slim knife. So it just slides down into my pocket, in the back corner of my pocket, and it gets lost there. I don't feel it. This is about as good as it gets for coming from the factory. coming from the factory clip. A lot of clips that are this good, you're going to have to buy aftermarket. Not in this case. Unfortunately, these are not right and left-handed knives. They do make a left-handed model. So you lefties out there aren't left for, wanting. But you are going to have to buy your own model of knife if you want a left-handed knife. You're not going to be able to switch the right to the left-handed. So be it. I think that keeps this face looking very nice. We don't have any open holes or filler tabs down here so that you can switch the knife around. You're just going to have to buy the lefty if you are a lefty. And so be it. I'm not a lefty. I don't have to worry about it. You lefties fend for yourselves. I'm just kidding. If you're left-handed, leave a comment in the section below. Let me know whether you like left-handed knives or if you like a knife that is ambidextrous and you can just move your pocket clip over. So let's have this knife out and check it out next to some of the classics. This is going to be out next to the Spyderco Para 3. As we can see, it's a whole lot longer than the Para 3. Let's take it out next to the Spyderco PM2. Once again, it's a little bit longer than the PM2. So we have a big knife here, you guys. This is on the large size. It's not huge, but it's on a large size. All right, putting these away, let's get next to the Atom. Next to the Three Rivers Atom. It's a bit longer than that, about the same thickness. And if we look at it, the Atom's a little smaller in the scales. This is running on bearings. It can't be quite as close as this is. This is running on washers. That's understandable. This is incredibly narrow for bearings. This knife is running on washers, and it is that thick. And this is going to be much thinner than the Spyderco Para 2. So then we have it next to the Kunwu Padre, where it is much longer but much slimmer than this knife. As you can see, the Padre just takes up a whole lot more of your pocket space. Don't get me wrong, I love the Padre, but it's just a very different knife than this. Now, as far as big knives go, it is not the biggest knife. The biggest knife, once again, goes to the Civivi Buster. And if you want some gigantic, this is the knife, you guys. It's a little silly. I can't see myself throwing it in my pocket every day, but boy, I do sure love having it out. Now, let's go to a couple last of the more classic carries, something I do carry in my pockets all the time. Having it next to the Hinder XM18 is fairly close to the same size. It is pretty close to the XM18. This is just going to be completely straight. The XM18 has a bit of a curve to it. Last but not least, we have the Chris Reeves Sebenza 31 large. Glass blasted, Elfarin, ivory, just chef's kiss. The best Sebenza out there, in my opinion. This is my favorite. Let me know your favorite Sebenza in the comments. I know everybody's got their favorite, but this one's mine. But this is not a video about Sebenzas, you guys. I just thought you'd like to see it next to it. It has a little bit of length on the Sebenza, but it's definitely going to have a much thinner body than the Sebenza is. So, in wrapping up, one of the things you should know about this knife is that it has a little brother. This knife has a little brother called the Sub Caliber. And the Sub Caliber is a 7.5 inch overall knife with a 3.3 inch blade. So you're taking about an inch or so off the length, and you're taking about half an inch off the blade, giving yourself a much more, I'd say, reasonable, not a compact knife, but on the smaller side of what I like. This is a little bit bigger than what I typically like. It's a little outside the measurements of what I like. I like 7 to 8 inch knife. I like a 3 to 3.5 inch blade. We have an 8.6 inch knife with a 3.8 inch blade. But you know what? This one I like. It fits anyway. We can hold it way back here and have a nice long knife, or we can hold it up here and choke up on it and really get just all this blade to work with and nothing else. It's really comfortable. The flipper tab actually doubles as a little spacer between where my two fingers sit. Gives me a lot of grip, gives me a lot of comfort. I absolutely just love it. There's a lot of really good characteristics to this knife. I think Golden Designworks knocked this knife out of the park. and it's just an amazing design. It is a winner in my book. I think for the knives for 2025, this is in the running of the best out there. I would put it in my top 5 right now. Right now, it's probably in my top 3 for my favorite knives of 2025 that I've got my hands on. A lot because of this locking mechanism. This locking mechanism is just amazing. I love it. They're calling it the Fusion Lock. There's a couple other knives out there that are utilizing this, and I think they're all made by the same OEM. So the last thing is, this is a Best Tech OEM, and Best Tech is putting out killer knives lately. Actually, Best Tech is putting out the knife that my company has designed and will be putting out as our first release. So much like Golden Designworks, we have chosen a great Chinese OEM, or much like us, Golden Designworks has chosen a great Chinese OEM, however you want to put it. So the OEM for this knife is Best Tech. Best Tech's been putting out awesome work lately. I'd say they rival any of the OEMs. They might just be the gold standard for OEM right now. It is a Chinese-made knife, but for the price, I don't think you can beat this knife. So right now, you guys, this knife is coming in at $350, and I think that's a totally fair price for this knife. It's completely reasonable. It's competitive with any other knife in that range. This is about the same price as this knife standards RR3. You're getting probably more function out of this knife, where you're getting a little bit more finesse out of the RR3. I think that this looks a little bit more simplistic, but the functionality of this is just at the top of the charts. I don't think there's many other knives out there that have as many ways to open the blade, as many ways to close the blade, as intuitive a way to use a frame lock along with a button with their fusion lock. Everything runs incredibly smooth. There's no grinding. There's nothing rough in this knife at all. The bearings run perfect. The lockup is incredibly solid, you guys. The lockup is just great. The blade is not going anywhere. I really like the rear flipper. I really like the front flipper. I really like the finger hole. All we can't do is use our thumb, and I'm over it. I don't give a crap about that, you guys. So in the end, I think this knife is a complete win from Golden Designworks. If you have the opportunity to grab yourself a Caliber, I say go and do it. If you think the Caliber is going to be a little too big, maybe check out the Sub Caliber. It's just a little bit sized down version of this exact same knife. Now, Golden Designworks is having a very light knife coming out very soon. I believe it's a Wharncliffe style, and it's called the Slim. I'm going to be picking it up, and I'm going to be reviewing it for you guys, but it's not been released yet, so keep your eye out for that. So next up on my reviews, you guys, I'm going to be checking out the Kunwu Excalibur, the Metal Complex collab with Kunwu. We're going to check it out. Everything that's good, everything that might be bad. So far, I really like it as a knife. So you guys wait around and see. When I come back, we're going to be checking out the Kunwu Excalibur. But for now, this is the Golden Designworks Caliber. It's an amazing knife. It is one of the best knives for the best price out there. So for the $300 to $400 range, I don't think you're going to find a better knife than this Golden Designworks Caliber. So if that's your price range, I would highly consider getting this knife. If the $300 to $400 price range is a little too pricey for you, I suggest saving up a little bit. This knife is worth it. If you only had, $250 to spend on a knife, save up another $100. I'm telling you, it is worth it. This is going to beat the bricks off of any $250 knife. This is going to beat the bricks off of any $300 knife you find. There's not much out there in this price range that can compete with this knife. I suggest that you go out and get it. I'm not paid by Golden Designworks. I bought this knife with my own money, and it is a 9.8 out of 10. The only reason I can't give it a 10 out of 10 is going to give nothing a 10 out of 10 that isn't a Cortex XL. But that being said, this is a 9.8 out of 10, you guys. This is amazing. This is flat out amazing for the money. Go get you one. You will not be upset. I promise you. So, all right. That's the Golden Designworks Caliber. Next time, we're checking out the Kunwu Excalibur. I'm Garrett. This is the Cutting Room Knife Review. Till next time, guys, stay sharp.